row here.
Work yesterday? Your office open?
Oh, didn't rain as much.
I'll bet not.
Oops. Oops.
That's it. Outside.
Okay.
That all we got.
Or gonna
Okay.
leave some other marks.
Good morning, Linda. How are you? I haven't seen you, but congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
And all the years of service, appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Team.
I turned the heat up.
There you turn.
What'd you say?
I said I turned the heat up. Did you say it was always cold in
It
here?
is.
How's your day so far?
Good, you?
Good. I'm doing great.
So I just picture of you and your daughter.
Good.
First thing I opened up this morning on Facebook was you, your daughter's post, and I thought, somebody's all going somewhere exciting.
Went to a wedding.
Oh, did you?
Thank you, ma'am.
Sorry.
The 6 o'clock.
Oh, tonight?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Keith, you're back. Thought maybe you'd quit. Ain't been the same without you these last 2 weeks.
Dan, what are you gonna do with all your free time?
Can't let the cat out of the bag.
Go fishing, Ellie. And Mondays are a good day for fishing.
You guys gonna remove me from the agenda again today? Is that gonna be your first order of business once again? Most pressing county business you guys got?
There's a resolution that you pass to make so you can summarize the resolutions rather than publish the whole thing. I don't know if that works for that, because it's in there. So. You might want to put in here too, is this going to be with that?
This is the publication. So
Okay.
this is what I'm going to be putting in the paper next Tuesday.
also, I mean, it seems to me to be a good thing to do here. Put here that a copy of the full resolution is available at your office, so that people can view it if they want to come and see it beforehand. And just have that, and I think that's good. But then ultimately, I think you publish that after when you publish the resolution, after you approve it.
Right. So you want that copy of the full resolution?
It's available, you can tell me where it will be. You put it in the county clerk's office, it's just gotta be sitting, where everybody can grab it.
So it's not a resolution at this point putting it in the paper, it would be,
You're just saying a draft, you know, a draft of the proposed amendment is available for public view at X.
so now, sanitary?
I'm sorry? Yeah, go ahead. That's what's on the agenda, is the visit about the code.
So we got Martha here to
Sure.
talk about, that code and what you all are wanting to maybe cut from that.
Mark, do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, we talked about, doing away with the inspections upon purchase. If there is an inspection that has to be done, 9 times out of 10, the lending company or the buyer is going to require an inspection, and if they require the inspection, that's fine and dandy. I don't think that, we need to be
crazy that your fee is more than the guy who's actually pumping the tank out.
Understandable.
And the fact that if a sale happens in a very short period of time, it's $100 more to get it inspected in 10 days or less.
I'll be honest with you, we don't put that in place unless a realtor calls us up and said on a Tuesday and says, hey, I'm closing Friday. Is there any way you can squeeze this in? That's when we charge them that expedite fee. Otherwise, if they say, we're closing the end of the month, I get out there and do it whenever I can. And if it's within 10 days, I don't charge them that. Because unless it's absolutely necessary, because I know it's another financial burden, for somebody. So we only charge that if we deem it's, last minute type thing.
Well,
I have a problem with that then.
what I guess I'm concerned about too is the fact that you're saying that not all sales cover this. Meaning, the people who are conscientious and call up and get the service, do it right, they're essentially there's people who don't do it, and they're fine.
Right, if I buy a property from Todd and we just use White Law Office, it's voluntary that I call you and get it inspected.
Technically, yeah. I mean, it's not a perfect system. We wish it were. We wish it was.
And one thing that concerns me, I sit on your board, and so, just from listening and everything, one thing that concerns me is we're Northeast Kansas Environmental Services, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we're Northeast Kansas Environmental Services, then shouldn't we have the same sanitary codes that we're using for all of these counties rather than this one here, because from what you're saying, I can't make comparisons with the information that you're giving me because it's all different. The sanitary codes are all different.
I'm in agreement with you, Mark, and that's what we're working toward. And we're actually using Jackson counties as a model. Now, KDHE, I'm going to say 2 years ago, don't quote me on that, but here in the last 2 or 3 years, they had a committee of sanitarians across the state, and they came up with a model code. And so they're encouraging counties to update their codes because, as you can see, I mean, yours is 20 years old, 21 years old. The rest of them are 25, 30 years old. They all need updated. And there is a process to go through to do that. And we are trying to get all of the counties as similar as possible. Now, you guys as commissioners want one set of codes. Brown County may not agree with 100% of those, so they may axe out, having, I don't know, a water supply section in there, or they may not want us to, I don't know, I can't think of anything specific.
I grew up in Atchison County.
Uh-huh.
They're not zoned. Jackson County is obviously zoned. It's kind of a legal question. We didn't have to submit our brown water or sink water to the septic system or to a lagoon. It could be shot out into the ditch.
Not brown water, gray water.
Gray water.
Gray
Gray water.
yeah.
Okay.
Back in the day, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Kansas is no discharge state. There's no wastewater that can be discharged into the ground.
You're illegal in scofflaw.
I have sewer systems.
Even though there's still, I know one that just got changed last year because they still send their gray water out to the ditch.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the thing, we go on these properties, we walk around and we can see that, yeah, they've got a septic system, but it's an old enough house that it's probably running out into a ditch. So I'll walk the property and I've found a handful of them, and it's usually a simple fix inside the house, reroute that to where it all exits to that septic tank. But we, as an agency, are wanting to get all of the codes from our 5 counties as similar as possible to make it easier for us to, rather than say, okay, I'm in Atchison County, let me bring out Atchison County's code and, see what that code says. So we are trying to move that direction.
I guess too, I'm a little hesitant to charge county residents for this service to get their sewage inspected, their septic system and everything inspected, when you check and see what's running from the house out, you camera the system.
I don't have a camera to run it through, no. If somebody's there, then we have them turn a faucet on inside the house. And if that's coming into the septic tank, we know that it's most likely pumped correctly.
Well, sure, but I mean, what I'm saying is, so you're talking about getting a septic system inspected, and what you're doing is you're looking at the septic system, but you're not actually looking at what connects the septic system to the house.
Right.
So if that's Orangeburg, and it's been there for 30 years, you know what's happening to it, right? But you have no way of knowing that, so when you talk about, well, you know, you're gonna have to go and do all this to get your septic system up to grade, and they spend the money to do that, and then, you know, 4 weeks after the sale closes, the Orangeburg collapses all the way, well, then they're just screwed for that. I mean, you understand what I'm saying?
There's no consistency.
There's no consistency. If you're gonna look at the septic system, then you need to look at it from the house all the way out. You don't know if you've got broken tile, you don't know if you've got Orangeburg, so, I guess, where do we stop at? See what
Well,
I'm saying?
yeah, I mean, typically when I check a septic system, just for example, you know, we have the tank pumped out, I have a camera that I drop down into the tank and I look around to make sure the tank is in good shape. Then we know the telltale signs from the tank out into the field, whether there are any signs of it failing now, failing in the past, or if everything appears to be working correctly. And so that's the evaluation that we're basically doing. From that house to the tank, we don't have any way to check that. We don't have one of those cameras that can be run down through that line. We encourage the homeowner to get somebody with a camera to run that down through there. We just don't have that capability. So we just basically check from the tank and then from the ground out to there. Now, then we disclose in our letter that says, at the time we were there were no signs of failure, and with all wastewater systems, water usage, failure, I don't remember exactly how it is, but basically, when we were there was no signs of failure. There's no warrant that you could have failure in the future, because if you've got grandma and grandpa living in the house, you know, a 5-bedroom house, they're not gonna have as much water usage as them selling the house to a family of 6. They're gonna have more water usage, and then that could potentially cause failure down the road, because there's most likely gonna be more water usage there. But for our purposes, for when we are there, we're only capturing that moment in time. You know, we're not guaranteeing, you know, a year from now, they're not gonna have any kind of failure.
Okay.
So I don't know that there's any sort of
Right.
way to predict that type of thing, so.
Again, I'm just, if we're gonna do this, and we're gonna rewrite our sanitary codes, and, you know, we're gonna stick with your recommendations, I am not satisfied, right, they're signing off on new recommendations unless this coalition is going to do it together.
Right.
Because if we're all in this together, I don't want separate ones for each county. If this is a coalition, we need to do it together. And this is, you spoke like Brown County didn't like something, they struck it out. Okay, well, that's where the negotiation comes in part. You know, if we can, you said the state came out with a template for sanitary goods, right?
Right.
So, have you sent that template out to the other counties?
I have not. I'll be honest with you, I've been working on Atchison counties trying to get theirs. When they adopted theirs in 1998, Dennis Foster, who was the sanitarian at that time, all they wanted at that time was just a bare minimum, you know, to make sure that things were in compliance. There's a lot of references to, not a lot, but there's some reference to Bulletin 4-2, the Kansas Bulletin 4-2, which is the minimum standards for wastewater for the state of Kansas. He finally got them convinced that they should have a code, but they just wanted the bare minimum. So we're starting with them to get their code up to today's standards, I guess, if you will, with terminology and the things that need to be brought up to that level to get them even close to the minimum standards for the state of Kansas. Once we get Atchison County completed and finished up, then we're gonna start with the other counties.
Okay, but I guess my point is, if you're doing Atchison County right now, why not bring the coalition together? Come make your presentation to each of the county commissioners and say, here's our standards that we're going to try to go to for the group. rather than, well, we'll do yours now, and then, 2 years from now, we're gonna say, well, let's change them again. Don't you think that now is the time?
Can that be done from your board?
That's what I'm wondering, what do you mean bring the coalition together?
Then
As a
put these
board?
Kansas Environmental Services,
The
and take a
board?
representative from each group.
Right, the board,
Yeah, what I'm
From the,
wondering
well,
is,
it would, I don't know if it necessarily be the board, or if it be one of each of the county commissioners to come and talk about, okay, let's negotiate this and see if we can't come together with a,
don't they each have a commissioner that sets
some
on
of
the
them
board?
are the
Yes.
health departments.
that is
correct?
correct. Each county has a commissioner representative on our board, yes. And we have discussed this in the
So
past.
maybe if you brought
Who
up,
is
that-
Nemaha County, because I've never seen Nemaha County there.
He's not a commissioner, the commissioners appoint our board members, and the commissioners have appointed their road and bridge guy.
No, that's their business administrator, isn't it, or,
Uh-uh.
isn't he on there too? Or he just come that time just to introduce himself?
Yeah, he
well,
just came
at
up
any
with-
rate, could this be done at the board, at that board level?
I would just assume that county commissioner rather than the road and bridge guy or the county health nurse. I mean,
Well-
because we're the ones that are gonna be approving it in the long run anyway, right?
Right, and typically, the commissioners appoint a commissioner to the board. That's what our bylaws state. It's up
Sure.
to each county commission to appoint 2 members to the board. And typically, it is the health department administrator and then a commissioner. Nemaha is unique because their commissioners, I don't know if nobody wanted to run, but they appointed their road and bridge,
Well,
guy.
who's Brown?
Lamar Shoemaker.
Cause I don't think I've ever seen him in a meeting.
He's only been to one
Brown.
meeting.
You're right, he's Brown. Nemaha County has a administrator
Yes.
that they rely on, but all things done and said by the board, each county should ratify it.
That's what I'm saying, so in order to talk about it, I think, and come to an agreement on the sanitary code for the group, I think that there should be, that my personal opinion is that it should be the commissioner, a commissioner, not the nurse, not the road and bridge guy, from
Won't
each
they take
county.
it back to their commission and get their approval?
Yeah, but how can you negotiate, I mean, if we're negotiating back and forth, I would just soon negotiate with an equal rather than talk to somebody else.
But if they're appointed by the commissioner, so if we appointed
I
Scott,
fully
Scott
understand that.
has the ability to negotiate on our behalf.
I fully understand that, but if we're gonna have to ratify it in each of the 5 counties, or 4 counties, whatever it is,
Yeah.
then I'd just soon be talking
So
one-on-one.
do you think you can pull everybody together?
I don't know, can we? Because like I said, well, I've never seen Brown County.
He offers to join us via Zoom each time, so I mean, if that would be a way that would be acceptable to
If
me.
he's comfortable with that, I guess, we could do that, but I mean, I think that I would try to pull that together, because
So-
like I say, you're negotiating with Ashton right now, when everybody needs to do it, the state's put something out, let's get together and talk about it, see if we can't get something ratified, pulled together for the whole group.
Okay, so we've got 2 different things we're talking about here. We're talking about ratifying all 5 counties together, but we're also talking about eliminating it from ours.
I would like to see us, before we even talk about upgrading ours, see if we can't pull it together with the 5 counties.
Okay, but would first step be getting the form of whatever your general form that you're working off of?
Yes,
And seeing what
to
that,
the rest of us.
and you guys comparing yours to that and seeing where either you wanna add something to it, or you have a problem with something that says.
So can you get the template that the state
The
has put out?
Monaco, oh yeah, it's on the KDHE website,
Okay,
yes.
Is that the 4.2 thing?
No, this is actually the LEPP part of KDHE.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And can those regulations state that it can be done by any qualified inspector?
We have an issue with that,
Okay.
because let me tell you what's going on. We are an unbiased third party. We have no skin in the game. We're not gonna be making, however much money. Let's put this we license wastewater system installers. Some of those guys could check wastewater systems. Now, they could also come in and say, okay, yeah, I think your tank is, you need to get a new tank. I'm not saying that there's shady ones out there, but there could be shady ones. It's just like taking your car in to get the oil changed, and they say, oh, you're gonna need new brakes and you're gonna need new this and that, because they have a financial gain to be made on that.
Sure.
Our installers, it could be perceived that they are gonna have some financial gain if they say, okay, yeah, this is failing.
What would it, okay, let's go a different route. How would we reduce the amount that we're charging our taxpayers every time they sell a house to make it more reasonable? Shawnee County, I think, charges $50.
Okay. The thing about individual counties is, like Shawnee County, I'm gonna use it for example, and I don't know their specific numbers. They are paid, that environmental sanitarian is paid by that county, okay? I'm not paid by the county, I'm paid by Northeast Kansas Environmental Services. Each of our
You're
counties,
subsidized by the county.
each of our counties kicks in that money every year to be part of our coalition. And so they're basically getting environmental services for that $10,000 fee, okay? So that each individual county, Shawnee County, has an environmental budget, and so they're paying for part of that environmental services person to do their job as well. We are, making our we're trying to break even, on these services, these paid services, that individuals are paying. That's the cost of a new wastewater permit. If we would find someone's wastewater system that is failing and they need to upgrade that, then we would have, if we charged them $100 to come check the wastewater system, it's failing, they need a new tank or whatever, then we have to ask them for more money to get that permit fee paid. We don't ask them for more money if it does need to be upgraded and whatnot at that point. So
We don't reimburse it either.
that's correct. That's correct.
So what would it cost the county? It would cost our county more in appropriations to reduce that monthly fee.
That's correct. And to be honest with you, that $10,000 has been in effect since, I want to say 2003, don't quote me on that, but it was the early 2000s when this coalition came together and all of the counties started kicking in money when the state LEPP money dried up and went away. We haven't charged any more since that amount.
Okay.
I mean, and how much has inflation gone up since then, so.
Thank you, that's good information to know. So how do you want to proceed with this?
I would like to see you, and I guess I can go out and look at it on the KDE's website, but I would like to see you try, and it needs to be done through the board meeting, whatever, try to pull together a coalition of commissioners to come to an agreement on the sanitary codes for the coalition,
So
not
the
for
same
each
for all
county.
counties participating?
Yes, not for each county.
So let's-
Because I can't fathom how I can compare counties with the information that I get if we're all different.
So let's proceed in that direction. Let's start by getting all 5 counties to agree on a set of codes, and then we'll move from there.
Each individual county has their own set of sanitation codes. I believe, and I don't know from a legal standpoint, I would assume they need to continue with a Jackson County code, a Nemaha County code.
As long as they're the same.
Right,
The
okay,
adoption of it is, once it gets done, the adoption of it is straightforward.
Yeah.
right.
Is that, just to help, because I'm looking on the website right now and I have a hard time finding the model code here, what is it, the environmental health handbook?
No. What did you Google or go into KDHE LEPP?
And, yeah, KDHE is not LEPP, it's.
Because there's actually a division, the Local Environmental Protection Program, they've got their own part of the KDHE website. So if you just do KDHE LEPP, there should be a section, I believe, on the right
Okay,
hand
the
side.
board. Okay, so they have a separate, it's
Model County
KSLP.
Sanitary Code? Is that what it is?
Yes,
Okay, so if you go under KDHE, and it pops up over on the right-hand side, down the last one, Model County Sanitary Code.
yes. That is what they came up with, because there was a lot of counties wanting to change sanitary codes, but they didn't know which direction to go or how to do it. So they came up with this model code. Now, there's a lot of stuff in there that would not apply to our counties, but you can pick and choose, you know, I want this, but I don't want that, so we would take that part of it out.
And that's, like I said, I think that's where we need to get together and have it where all of us are the same.
And so, Martha, if you wanna put together a template of what that would look like, and then present that to all 5 counties, I mean, to me, there's no reason you can't just email that to each individual commissioner and say, I need you to take action on this if you choose to, so that, with a cover letter saying, we'd love to have the same sanitary code in all 5 counties, would this meet what you guys do? If so, let me know, then they'll adopt it.
Are you thinking that you would, your committee, could the committee do the work on it to get a real, meaning that's
They can.
altered? And then it would go, I mean, basically you would want all counties to say to the general question, do you want to have a uniform sanitary codes for all any state counties? And they would say yes, and then that's it. And then it goes to form, goes to you guys work it out, get everything fixed, and the final version comes to you.
I think that would be the first thing to do, is to talk to each one of the counties and see if we can get them on board with having a uniform sanitary code for the coalition, not individual codes that really, because you're chasing your tail by trying to keep each county straight as far as what their codes are. I mean, I know that by now you probably got it memorized, but it's just, you know, God forbid something happens to you tomorrow, somebody else comes in new. Well, what are you gonna do? Well, you know, Atchison does this, and Jackson does this, and Brown does this, so, you know, you gotta kind of keep all that separate. Let's get it all together, let's get it straight, so that it's easier for us as a county to follow, it's easier for the coalition to follow.
I'm in agreement with that, because it is clunky. You know, it's definitely clunky and not easy to navigate.
Okay.
And I will tell you, Atchison County, the procedure we've been handling for Atchison County, we went to the commissioners, they were on board with changing, you know, updating their codes. We got together a community forum, a community group of people from varying different walks of life to give us input on what they wanted for the sanitary codes. I'm in the process of putting that together to present back to the commissioners. At that point, it will go to KDHE for them to go through with their fine-tooth comb. They'll send the changes back to the county level to either accept or not accept, you know, and then it has to be publicized. Then it goes back to KDHE for them to officially adopt it, back to the commissioners for them to officially adopt it. It's a long process.
Sure.
But we can definitely get started in that
And that's
direction.
what I say, when you're doing them already, might be the time to do it right now to get everybody on board, so we can get going with this thing and get it running.
Right, and where I was going with this is Atchison County requested to have a nuisance part of the code added to their code, a nuisance chapter. That's not unique across the state, but there's very few counties across the state with a nuisance chapter of the environmental and sanitation codes. So, you know, that may be unique to Atchison.
That just gives some teeth to it, right?
Well, no, it's a different way of enforcing it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they have a resolution in place right now for nuisances.
Okay.
They want to incorporate that resolution into the environmental and sanitation code.
Nuisance being somebody's
Like
sewer running
discharging
on their property.
groundwater into the.
No,
Correct.
more of your place is trashed and I don't like looking at your place, and, you know, they've got standards for, you know,
I
having
think that's a whole.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
think
it
that's-
is, I'm not gonna lie to
Yeah,
you.
no, we've been down this path 2 years ago.
You guys have zoning, so you guys are in a little bit
We
better
do,
shape
but
in
we
that
also
way.
tried to do some nuisance type stuff, and, I mean, it gets too subjective. If you drive out of here to John's farm, you don't like the way it looks, I'm not
Right.
gonna be the one to make a decision that I don't like the way his looks versus the way theirs looks. We're not going, for me, I'm not going down that path,
Yeah.
because that's way too subjective.
I mean, well, like you have reported to us that you have gotten calls about, you know, mice and rats from here and there, and going onto the neighbor's property. Well, that's something you really can't do anything about.
Absolutely,
You
that's
know,
my
I mean,
stance too.
that is not a
Yeah.
nuisance necessarily,
Well,
but I've got.
You get 90% of it all uniform, and you can have, you know, 10% here and 10% there, and you know that's a small detail, you know, in that county, and that's not a big deal.
Right.
I mean, it's, instead of having 5 different codes, you've got really one with 3 or 4 that
Yeah.
different
And I would
codes.
think most of those, if what you have on your property is causing damage on my property, that's gonna be a legal battle, not.
Yeah, not an environmental.
Civil.
Yeah, I agree.
Kate usually does a good job of speaking up when she wants to, but go ahead.
There was one suggestion, because you were talking about getting rid of the resale part of that, because something was sold within a year. Maybe it could be like, if it has been inspected within the last however many years.
Whatever we do.
Yeah, and I,
Maybe that could be,
yes,
instead of, it was
Yeah,
just
and that's a great
inspected 9
point.
months ago, does it have to be inspected again with this resale?
and that's what I would like to see done with the rental portion of it too, you know, because you're, didn't you say, Keith, that there was a deal in there that?
Right, every time a renter moves out, it's required to be inspected.
That's part of the code, yeah.
Yeah,
But
well,
I'll be
that's-
honest with you, I've been doing this for, not this job, I've been with NEKDS for 10 years and we've not done a rental inspection, you know.
Okay.
The property resale, I would actually like to see that not go away. Just because so many counties across the state are moving towards that, I would hate to be going
I'd like to put a
backwards.
timeline on it, like Kate said, if it's been inspected, you know, 5 years ago and everything was good, then we're not gonna inspect it again. If it sells, if it's sold here and 2 years later it sells again, if we're not gonna inspect it there, but 4 years later it sells, then we'll inspect it there, because that's 6 years between the time of the first sale. I just don't like, yes, sir.
I'm concerned because I think we skipped over some of those, the problem with that, just how do we enforce that? Meaning, you sell your property and you read it before, you comply, and the guy next door just doesn't do it, nobody ever calls him. So what's our hook? I mean, places would have.
Say that again, I don't understand your.
I mean, what do we deny to say, you can't do this? What do they need to ask the county when they're selling? They file a deed, the pressure deeds have to take it. Do they have to get a zoning permit if they're not changing the zoning? If there's a residential house and they're just changing ownership, they don't need a zoning permit or a certificate of occupancy, right? So what is the action that they need from us when they're selling the property that we can say no? And then they have to kind of come to us on you know, and that's how you enforce this. That's how you differentiate between the guy who's following the rules and the guy who isn't. Is you've got a hook on both of them to say, you know, well, you didn't ask for that in 2 years ago. So we gotta, and how, what do you?
Right, and I think in my example earlier, if I'm buying Todd's property and we use just a lawyer or a title company, nobody's gonna ask that question.
They know that they're supposed to get them checked now.
Who's they?
The title company,
The title company here in Holt.
White, yeah.
Okay.
Why would you need
But if
title?
I'm
But if you go to,
If I go to
Timbuktu,
Topeka or anywhere
So
else.
you go to my office, say, do a title abstract.
Right.
And tell them, and I do it private. I can do that.
Right, so I think that's your point, is how do we make sure we're applying this evenly across the board to all sales?
Yeah,
And not just the ones that are honest, or the ones that are forthcoming.
and back to the grandparents, you know, grandma and grandpa living in the house, I go and check it, everything is just fine, a family of 6 moves in, then they sell it in 2 years, they've all of a sudden failed the system because it's old, you know, that's not getting found, you know, if we do that type of thing, you know, if they're not all being checked.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you size the septic systems off of the number of bedrooms?
For new systems, yeah, but these old systems that were just put in, you know, at the beginning without any regulations or whatnot, if they're not failing, we can't say you gotta add laterals to it, or, you know, cause we don't have a drawing, we can tell usually, you know, with the lines in the grass, how many feet there are, if that's not failing, it may be undersized, and we'll usually state that in the letter, it's undersized for today's standards, you might wanna keep an eye on it for down the road.
Okay, Martha, I have another question. Grandma and grandpa's house, grandkids move in, grandma and grandpa have passed away, transition over there, that's another monkey wrench in the whole situation, so it probably passes through and you don't even know it.
A lot of those do,
Okay.
yeah. Like I said earlier, it's not a perfect system, I wish we could catch Not, I don't mean this in a negative sense, I wish we could, see all property resale and transactions that went through, but we don't.
So two things, then, are we interested in trying to get all sales?
I'm just curious, what is the real point of this code is to protect the buyer?
That, in my eyes, it is, yes.
Sure, no, I agree.
But I think the county has an interest generally in having, homes that are compliant with the law so that we can safely, that we have people moving in here and they know every time they don't have to worry about, they don't have to worry about zoning because you're making sure that.
So how do we protect all buyers?
So, in my opinion, if somebody is going to, it's just a personal, it's not an open market sale, they're going into this house, they know that they have work to do on it, or not, they don't have inspections done, they're that's on them, right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
So, that would be a resale that most likely it would be a quick claim, possibly a general warranty.
Warranting the deed doesn't have anything to do with the
Right.
sewer system.
Right, because there's a lot of properties that are sold as is. I know this is failing, I know the house is destroyed, but I want it, and I'm willing to give X number of dollars, and then I'll fix everything. That type of situation, there's a lot of those that happen. So, do we, as a board, do we want to try to catch all sales to protect all buyers, or are we just interested in ones that go through realtors, or are we happy with just catching the ones who are honest? That's what I need to know, so we can move ahead and give direction.
Not necessarily, I don't think it's necessarily about the honesty part either.
Okay, what is it?
It's about, if you're gonna have a not open market sale, it's a private sale, those two parties realize what's going on.
Yeah,
That
they
at
take a
any
risk.
time, they're taking that risk.
Okay.
And at inheritance.
Yeah, and then, but that's the question here is that there's a certain point of regulation say, you don't get to take that risk. Right? You can't lie in the sale of the house. You can't say something directly false because state law says you can't. And you will be civilly liable and you could be criminally liable if you do that. So they've taken that, there's no, the extreme of being buyer beware is not really the rule because there's a whole raft of laws that say that's not buyer beware. And that's, you have to have a lawyer, a realtor probably to tell you both of those things if you're really in a deep transaction. And I agree with you that the setup isn't right now, I don't think, is that somebody comes in and checks to see about whether it was the septic system was checked according to county rules, that the rural water district has been paid in full, right? And then there's a dozen different things they don't check that are not illegal, to not say anything. So that's the balance. Do you guys want to be on the balance of we're regulating as things as we can and we're protecting versus buyer beware?
Well, I guess, my question on that would be, and according to you, what you put in your letter, as of today, this was great. Sign it, send it to them, done, right?
Yes.
So, a week later, they buy the house, and 2 weeks later, well, guess what? It's running all over, the laterals are backed up, everything's screwed up. What do we accomplish? We accomplished nothing, right?
So what's the answer to that?
Yeah,
So you're
I don't know what the answer to that
Are you
is.
saying take the code completely out and we just don't require inspection?
I don't know, that's what I'm throwing out there though, because to me, it is almost kind of like buyer beware, because if you're buying it, you're gonna take the responsibility anyway, because there are no guarantees from Northeast Kansas or the counties that it's good,
Yeah,
which
but
I totally understand, and I
yeah,
wanna take
we're right,
responsibility
in the
for it.
inspection that
And,
homeowner.
and actually, at this point in time, even if it's not brought up to code unless it's FHA, they don't have to fix it. Nobody's gonna come out and charge them or arrest them if they don't fix it. The sale goes through and stuff gets done or doesn't get done. There's no teeth behind it. Only on FHA, or if the bank refuses to loan somebody money, right?
More or less, yeah, we can pester them, but until we have that legal teeth behind us.
Right. So I would rather clean up some of that. Let's figure out what we want in it, how many, you know, whether we want teeth behind it, and what's enforceable and what isn't.
Well, have you read through the model sanitary code?
I've not read it, I have just quickly glanced through it to think, oh gosh, there's a lot of stuff that is in here as a possibility to leave in, but and that's been probably a year ago, so I don't know specifics.
Well, and the reason I was wondering is so, you know, are there any teeth in that? I mean, I see violations, penalties, prosecution, prohibited practices, so, you know, maybe we need to take a look at that and see what is actually in that, document.
That's currently in your code, I mean, there's actually a violation, you know, a fine in your code that's, you know, if something is not done, then
How many
they
times
could be
has it
levied a
been-
fine, but,
How many times has it been followed?
in my 10 years, probably none.
Okay,
But we have reached out to the, you know, to the legal, you know, the county attorney, county counselor of our counties a handful of times. And most of the time they can get it done, but then there's been a handful of times it's not been followed through enough to the point where it got accomplished.
well, I remember, one case in specifics that Lee did end up sending letters to him and, you know, it got taken care of, so,
Right.
All right,
all right, yeah.
so can some of this start at your board level?
Well,
Can some of this start at your board level, getting a consensus from all the counties that they wanna be uniform first, I think would be
I think that would be the thing to do, is start
and then
there.
start working on them at that level, and then bring them back to us, once you get a template.
I think that would be the thing to do, and I think, when's our next board meeting? Not until
January 9th.
January.
Yeah.
So, why don't we put on the agenda for January that we would like to discuss, and I would like to discuss, the possibility of all of us coming together as a coalition and negotiating, start with this model,
Yeah.
Okay,
and negotiate that and see what we can do, and then take it back to commissioners, and if the health nurses and road and bridge doesn't feel comfortable negotiating on that, then we need to, get the commissioners together, at least one commissioner out of each county, and start in on it,
Yep. I agree.
so.
In
Let's
the
go
meantime,
ahead and do that.
I will go through and, you know, a little more closer detail and look to see what's
Yeah,
going
I'm
on.
gonna get this printed out and read it and see what we can come up with,
Okay.
okay?
okay. Kate, anything else before we move on from this?
No.
Okay. All right, do you have anything else for us today?
One little thing.
Sure. It's your turn. Martha, thank you for coming down.
Thank you guys.
Martha,
I'll get back
appreciate
with you.
I'll look forward to hearing from you.
Okay, sounds good.
And maybe we can have part of this conversation at some point with increasing the appropriations to offset some of the, at least for our county.
Yeah, cause I'll be honest, I mean, if one county does, you know, we'll need to do it for all 5 counties to just keep everybody on the same level. And we did discuss that at board meetings last year
Okay.
about bringing it in front of you guys, saying, we're gonna probably need to start thinking about bumping that
Well,
appropriation up.
not only bumping it up, but bumping it up to reduce the burden to the taxpayer.
Right.
That's the portion I'm, you know, if we can reduce that somehow to make it a more manageable fee,
Right.
I would be interested in hearing what that number would look like.
Yeah, because with wages going up, gas going up, I mean, there's a number of factors that are contributing to our bottom line shrinking or
And-
going below. You know,
Sure.
that's what we're trying to do, is at least stay, you know, at or, you know, fairly above, that's all we can.
Let us know what those numbers look like and we'll have that conversation.
All right, thank you guys,
All right.
appreciate your time.
Thanks, Martha, we'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
I'll see you in January.
Yep.
All right, Katie.
Okay, so on the building permit application,
Mm-hmm.
Mark had recommended putting in, new and existing on the driveway entrances.
Yes. That way that takes out any ambiguity, and that way we're all straight.
Right. So that's what I'm asking, is if that looks good to you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and add it in
Okay.
on the instructions
Okay.
portion of that.
And that's on additional information, and you wanna do it on
It's gonna be on the
2
state
and
access.
3?
Yes.
Okay.
State
State access, the number 2, which is just any driveway entrance.
County. be
Yes,
on the county level.
for number 2 and number 3, yep.
Yeah.
I'm in total agreement with that, that way it takes out any ambiguity, and, you know, we can get this straightened out. Did you see anything else in there that you think needs to be,
No?
okay, that's all I need.
Yeah, I mean, it seems forever changing, it seems like. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have that.
Oh. Yes, you may. All that
This
is.
one? Cause I put it in, so it's highlighted there.
Thank
I
you.
didn't get one.
I know. You want one? You guys want one?
I'll share.
You wanna share it?
I'll share.
Oh,
That's what she wants, right there's what she's talking about changing, Dan.
Yeah,
I'll make you come.
okay, that's the.
Number 2 and number 3 under
yeah.
additional information.
But, still, KDOT trumps everything, it has to, right? Even though they go out and do their inspection, they still trump access off the highway. We do the county, but
Right.
KDOT still, okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it says that, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Kate. Okay, I have
Thanks,
a
Kate.
document here that is for the B program. I think you guys approved it or discussed it last week. Did you approve this last week?
Or the, no,
Broadband with,
did we table that until Keith got back?
Yes, I believe that's.
You did?
This is a letter of support.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you-
Their request.
Did you vote to approve the?
No, we did not vote to
Okay.
approve, it's just general consensus
Yeah, wait till
Okay.
you.
for the letter, or letter of
Okay,
support.
so it's a general consensus that we'll approve this. Okay. I've signed it. You guys want to sign it? Get it
Sure,
there?
good deal.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, thank you. Todd, thank you.
Sure.
Have a great day.
Seems like we tabled another project.
That was the, one, money.
Yeah, okay, so that's what we covered this morning. Okay.
Wait till I put my glasses on.
Sorry, I just can't make it to either, so I was gonna see if you were streaming.
We have another, the NEK AAA is applying for a grant.
Yeah. We had our meeting last week.
Okay, and so you're aware?
Yes, basically all we are is a conduit.
Right.
So, because they are short
Good.
money on the
Great
building
handwriting
project.
too, by the way.
When they first decided they were gonna build a new project, they got, projections, and now they're like $500,000 off,
No,
because
right.
years later, after COVID.
Okay.
So,
So they've applied for a grant, so.
yeah, and I think they're gonna try to get the,
General consensus, then we'll support that
Yeah.
grant and help facilitate it.
Yes.
and I've always said that, our senior citizen center, Jackson County Senior Citizen Center is the best in northeast Kansas, and best run, so.
And then you guys are aware that we'll canvas on the 15th?
Yes.
Yes.
9 o'clock bills, 10 o'clock canvas.
For the
Yeah.
canvas.
Yeah. And,
Is that something I need to be around for? Okay.
No,
I thought Lee did one of those, just remember.
I don't think so.
I think he's here because it was during a regular meeting.
Yeah, that would be what it
And we
was.
bored him to death, so.
Yeah, sit and listen.
Well, we know that didn't happen.
Okay. 23. I'm just gonna read through
All
this.
right, see you later.
The rest of your day? Oh, did you have a wonderful rest of your day?
Oh,
So Brightspeed is considering,
See you.
submitting a broadband grant application related to the Federal Beats initiative for a project in Jackson County. Sounds like it's similar to what
Use my
Giant did.
That's all good.
Did Cox go south too, or the Brightspeed, over by Dealey area?
I don't know if it, yeah, but I don't think they did a grant. I just, Cox, they were just putting in fiber down there.
There's a lot of money coming through, is it through the feds or the state, or both? The state, I attended a
It's
conference.
a B grant.
Yeah. This is just to approve.
They just want a letter of support.
Okay.
Same as
Saying that we
just-
support
just
their,
sign.
yeah. So
the general consensus that we would support drive speed
Sure.
in their application. Okay. So whenever we get that letter.
Now,
we'll
did you
sign
need
it.
them to come in and?
I don't believe so unless you gentlemen need to.
They just need to write a letter.
It's gonna be about the same as we heard from John,
Right.
so,
I would
yeah, I
agree.
think we're good.
Okay, there's a letter, you guys wanna sign that, but we'll get a letter for next week and we'll sign it.
We don't have to sign this.
They didn't
No.
send one yet, they're just
That's-
asking
All that
to
is the information.
get on the agenda or
Yeah,
you will do it.
they're actually, was it didn't it start out United and Sprint? Aren't they part of that? Do you remember that?
It was Bell too.
Bell?
It was Ma Bell down here first when I was growing up.
Was it really? Well, it was United out of Junction City. Then
It
maybe.
was
I
Ma
don't
Bell, then
remember.
it went to United, then it
Okay.
went to, I
Okay.
don't know what all.
Yeah, they had a couple of different, telephone offices here in Holton at one, not at one time, but during, what, fifties and sixties maybe?
Right down here by,
The old school.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember that as a
Yeah.
kid.
that's where the operators all worked out of.
Yeah, my grandma had, there was a row of big houses, there was a brick house there on the east side, my grandmother owned that, and as a kid growing up, I remember that, then somehow they all went in there and leveled all those houses.
What's that? Yeah, I'm gonna email Kevin real quick and just let him know that I'll see if these guys wanna read it. Okay.
Forgetting to make copies for
Okay.
everybody.
sent me back, did I read you what I wrote to him?
No.
Could you please provide me with an email and phone number for a contact person at IP Pathways? And he said, you can just email this email and tell them who you are from Jackson County and tell them what you need. A trouble ticket will be made and Christy and I will both be able to see it and monitor it through completion. Then he sent me the support at IP Pathways. And then it says, in the meantime, I will find the complete email I sent out to all business managers and get it to you, Keith and Dan, for your review and use. So, and I told him, this is what I was getting ready to send back to him. This is not for a trouble ticket. When we switched over to IP Pathways, I understood during negotiations that we were to provide one contact person, one backup person for the county contact, and they were to do the same. We were waiting on the information, or we were wanting that information.
Okay.
So, I'll send that to him and see what we get back.
Okay.
Who's that?
I don't know.
Did he just walk in and come back out?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna. I've got one correction on the minutes on the last page. At 11 a.m. when Dick was in, the next to last sentence in that paragraph, planning commission needs to be struck from that right now. We have not presented the planning commission with the draft of the solar rate yet.
You interviewed another individual for the zoning?
That only one came in,
Where was this guy from?
over by Soldier.
Okay.
Linda.
That doesn't matter, I have his name.
Okay.
But,
Seemed to be a very, well-spoken individual who I thought would do a good job on there.
Got him.
He's military.
Actually,
Henderson, Sean Henderson,
Yeah.
yes. I don't know him, I've never seen him before.
Guy from Emmett didn't, wasn't interested?
Nope. Nope, that's the only one.
Huh. Okay. And so we're full, we have 9 now?
Yes.
Yeah, some folks, commented on that, it was in the paper, I believe, or heard about it, so, yeah, that's good, if you're going larger.
Yep.
But, just gonna keep it, what, 7? We had 7? Yeah, I thought it was good. More
And
ideas.
while you were gone on the last page of this, I'm asking to strike and planning commission from the Nick Bowser talk, since we have not presented him to the planning commission as of yet. VOC, Z, and planning.
Nick Bowser,
commission.
who is he?
That would be PT Farms over here.
Related to
South.
Mark?
No. Well, not the Mark you're thinking of.
Okay.
Mark Bowser, who was his cousin. Yeah, but not the one you're thinking of, no.
Okay, so strike.
Strike and planning commission. Yeah, because we have not yet presented
No.
them to them.
Yeah. I was.
Well, I've read them, I've seen it tested them, so.
Yeah.
I see nothing other than what I had to write, so.
Entertain a motion to approve the November 4th minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And I did not vote because I wasn't here to attest to that.
Yeah.
The rest of the meetings, minutes have been approved up to date.
As far as.
I don't see them on the
Yeah.
website.
I don't think we've signed the hardware copies or whatever they're called yet. I don't think they have come out.
Okay.
But yes, to my knowledge, I'd say that's correct.
Okay.
And that's, notes from the minutes of 12/5/22, almost 2 weeks ago, about when we approved the, land that was to be used for the raised grant, which a lot of it has not been done yet, it's out of res, remember, we talked about that? I looked up the, yeah, I looked up the notes, they received, several $1 million, and.
You mean the roads that they're bringing?
Right,
Okay.
from their raised grant.
Okay.
Those are the minutes of us approving their, request to help with, detour, things like that. But there was a question here a while back, whatever happened, because they have not spent all their money yet. It's like increments, I think. So,
Okay.
just for your notes.
Okay.
Because I looked at all the minutes for a period of time.
Okay, so, Christmas, what do you guys wanna do, employee-wise?
Oh, dinner?
No, for, typically on an annual
Oh.
basis,
Oh, I see.
with things being tight? Are we gonna do anything?
I don't know that we can, things being tight. I mean,
We just got hit with the, lengthy period of time money's going out for, help me out with the name, last month.
longevity.
Yeah, there we go.
Premium.
Yes, that's what we call it. But it is. Yeah, that was for the reimbursement
For the conference. So,
good question.
do we, discussion,
Let's table this till next week.
I like that idea, yeah. Also,
the thing to remember is it becomes a time factor. I mean, we're in November, if we're gonna do anything, getting turkeys, whatever we've done in the past, gift cards, whatever that may be, if we make a decision, we just don't want to be too short before we can get that set.
And I think with today being the 12th, I think we got time.
Okay.
yeah, we did, chamber buck something before.
Yeah.
We've done that.
Maybe we just don't do anything because,
Like I said, let's think about that and see what.
Yeah. It's good. I like the table. I was kind of wondering.
Last year, didn't we pull out a commission?
we did,
And that's running tight,
it is.
because that's where if we need any more money for the end of the year, that's where that's coming out of.
That's
We
correct.
know the court system is gonna be stretched
They are.
beyond. So, because there were some sink cases that came through, several $1,000s that were lingering, as you well know, those things can go on for years.
Okay, so let's table up till next week,
Okay.
think about that.
Okay.
Tim wants to know if we want him on the agenda for next week, so he can come in and give us a report on, any remaining issues and, the cutover from Networks Plus Ivy Pathways. Would we like to do that?
For sure.
I think I wanna hear that.
Yeah.
So we kinda get this straightened out and get it going. So can you contact him and let him know, yes, we want him on the agenda next week? I appreciate that.
Let's put him on after, Kurt.
Early after.
Yep.
Nick and Christie will be here, right?
I honestly don't know, I haven't looked.
Okay.
Oh, I won't be here, so we'll see.
Okay, we got department head meetings next week too, so.
I've got to act on that day too. It's my mom and dad's anniversary. I always get mom something on the 18th. Yeah. Your birthday? Oh. Happy birthday in advance, so I probably won't see you until afterwards. What are you doing? Staying home? Cooking?
Probably.
There you go.
Plans.
There you go. I saw a picture on Facebook about the new building at Banner Creek. It looked like there yeah,
Okay, you can't hear.
yeah. Yeah, right, I remember.
Thank you.
Did these keys fit anywhere on your, I cannot find anywhere
Is
they.
that the ones that go down there, or if you're not there?
No, I don't think so. Don't push it in yet.
6 1.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's your common
You
county.
sure? I thought I tried.
So Brett Wagner,
Yeah, common county.
there you go.
Okay, we're good.
Leave a minute.
Yeah, should do that.
Brett Wagner sent me an email, said that he got, Marshall and Moran sent a letter of support. Were you guys aware of that?
No.
They both sent a letter of support for our grant straight to the Department of Transportation. Buttigieg.
Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Buttigieg.
Buttigieg.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Booty.
Yeah.
Booty.
Anyway, so
Okay.
I have a copy of that letter, so they both did that. Should know something in December.
Good.
That'd be nice.
That.
And that was for the $30 million road grant.
Correct.
Okay.
And then Rob Hartwell, there's been a change at,
I gotta drag that out.
well, no, it's just a change in personnel at,
Did you get one of these? I think Judge Campbell brought those in for us.
Yeah, well, there's one laying here.
Okay.
Yep.
I think,
I didn't know what it was.
Wait,
Oh, the cartridge.
probably one of the people.
this gentleman by the name of Taylor works for Marshall's office now, and it's not Bill Bursick anymore, and so, Rob was meeting with Taylor. Bill's moved on to something else, which is not uncommon.
Yep.
And so he's meeting with Taylor, Thursday, and then he met with, he's from here in Holton, Dad's principal,
Oh, what, tell what?
Tell, last week. I have not heard how that meeting went. This Tell is head of Tracy Mann's
Yep.
department. So, those are the two legislative updates that I have.
That's good. They're still in process. Are they? They're not even in session now.
No.
When?
No, but they're back this week.
Are they back this week?
Yep.
Okay.
So the email that I got that's talking about all county employees will be receiving an email from, so, is it Forrest? So Forrest? So close? So we need to set something up in that before, this is something from IT Pathways, are you guys familiar with?
No.
Oh, for the email?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just did that this morning. It's some kind of another
Level of,
another path if we get a suspicious email coming in and quarantine it in this Soros or whatever it is.
okay?
Yeah. So all you gotta do is go on that link and they will send you a code on.
Well, I actually thought it was a suspicious email, I just deleted it, so I
Yeah.
went back and deleted that. Little heads up if you were getting that.
Well, and there again, I didn't, when I first got it, in the last week, first to last week, I just kind of blew it off just like you did, and then there was another one that, came through that said, hey, you haven't done this yet, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. That was from a lady wanting to know if we're, I don't know, it's just an extra charge that somebody wants to charge us for, I think. Sounds.
What, the Soros?
No, something else. Maybe they just sent it to me, I don't know why they sent it. Maybe because mine's on the alphabet, my letter's first. I just ignored it.
So what do we have this afternoon? We have Kurt first.
Yeah.
Does he have anything? He didn't last week.
No, we didn't, no. We wanted to visit with him about the building and
Okay, yeah.
when it's gonna open up and.
Oh, what is,
plans
ribbon
are.
cutting, yeah.
We can adjourn for lunch, or,
Recess.
recess for lunch.
That would be nice. See you all about 1 o'clock then.
Yeah, ready.
Painting system capital
Mhm.
between landfill
Yeah.
And that's the total at that point. They didn't give it all.
Oh, really?
And he said, as a painter, he said he was very creative, but he wanted to do it his way. And so a lot of the humans were
Mhm.
fully unconscious. And did you know he was a sculptor, not a painter, and had to learn to paint before he did that?
No, I didn't know that. I knew he was a sculptor, but I didn't know he had to learn how to paint.
Yeah. So it was funny, there was a guy who worked with Hulk that put his foot down and painted some of the paintings and made him change and cover up some of the movie.
Yeah.
And, so he painted that guy, his likeness, in the picture with a snake wrapped around his neck. Forever is right there when you walk through the door into the chapel. He's right there.
Forever immortalized.
Ascending into hell. So, it was just funny.
Wow.
You know, how they were,
Oh, yeah.
you know, but yeah, it's beautiful. The architecture, all that stuff is just beautiful. But, good little
That's interesting.
funny stuff.
Yep. I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah.
You know, good to get away and relax a little bit and see some history like that.
Really good, tour guides.
Mm-hmm.
They were very knowledgeable, easy to talk to, spoke good English. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Makes a big difference.
We ventured out one night, just said 20 of us, we walked several blocks to find a subway.
Mm-hmm.
Got on it, a whole lot of people, closer to the city we got, more people, more people. We were seeing this at one point.
Really?
Yeah, and, one of the guys, an older guy, he got picked,
Oh, shit.
but he felt it and he went like that and knocked his wallet down, and the two guys got out of the car and the door shut and they had his cash. But he said he was very close to
Yeah.
everything else. That was the only incident.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Crazy stuff.
Yep. Well, as soon as we adjourn here, I gotta fly home, change clothes. Maybe have some cows out over on 190. I don't know. I don't see how they're hard.
Oh,
We'll see. We'll find out.
how many cows?
Right now we got,
Or down here,
Not
should
sure.
be down here.
Over here.
Yeah.
So we're not sure.
Back road into Denison, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that road.
Yeah, the main road in Denison. We'll see.
Think so?
No, I'm good, thank you. They might be out, you might be out.
Just your name?
It's,
Oh.
it's got a ding,
Yes,
and I don't mind a ding, they don't mind a ding, but the hood is shifted over from that ding. Type. And of course, it's probably a unibody, and if it's a unibody, there's a really good chance of doing all that is with the frame. The frame's been, you'll never work with it.
I've seen where people heat it up and it's popped out. You think
That's-
it's much more than that?
I think it could be a little more severe than that. If he had time to take a heavy heater, any way to pour it out, somebody would check it out.
Oh, is she?
If the whole frame is bent, there's no tires.
right.
So, he's going down to see Ed. And have Ed take a look at it. And I would imagine for Terry, join in on the fun. Terry's a real gearhead too.
Oh, good.
I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl that was raised by a bunch of gearheads.
Ever keep your, oh, you got your voice too.
He owns his own junkyard.
That makes it handy.
Just a lot of.
Betsy.
There's no change in rate on
I'll send
this.
you a link.
It's 30 cents additional.
Which should be 21.37 instead of 21.07.
It's just convenient.
Correct.
I think it just says that it's 30 cents down in the receipts page.
At the bottom.
Okay.
There's that tree down,
No.
went out by the little green post, straight out.
Ah.
Oh, wow. Oh, always could be.
Yeah, look at that, that's,
Where'd you do that?
yeah.
You need some mentions, baby.
I know, I'm a
Me and Shane have been talking,
Yeah. Oh, Shane, okay.
he wanted to do it when,
Sure.
no one was up here.
Makes sense.
I've they're
Okay. Oh, yeah.
not wool.
looks really clean out there.
I wanna spread it with corn
Fill me
on,
in,
and then he's gonna come in
Christie's asking
next
for,
spring
No,
and lay down,
we've been discussing, I'm not really.
next spring,
I think
that
she
one
asked
in,
me
and
if they're
we put something else there.
Yeah, sapling out there. Yeah. There's some apple trees out there.
That's what I said.
Yeah, people will like that.
yeah.
But it's-
Until,
and it was
unless they
great.
didn't pick them up.
Okay. That's what you want from leaf before, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, good deal. I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, it came up about noon and got done about
Yeah,
2:30, 3
and
o'clock.
I think it's.
They're good.
Then I had to cut this one down over here too, 'cause
What she wants.
And the one out here is really bad shape
what
too.
They think she wants.
Right, it could be a breakdown.
now that one's, it took it in that one storm.
So,
Yeah.
I'll call
And
her.
I had several people look at it,
No.
and it's just gonna kill the other tree trying to
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, very good. Pretty soon they'll be planting trees for you one of these days, you know, when you retire and move on.
I had an arborist come up and says, the
Yeah.
worst thing you can do is put a plaque on the tree, 'cause it's guaranteed to die.
Yeah.
Oh, how's your hand?
Go back and.
Which one? The one you hit me with.
Oh,
That's
that's
good,
good.
didn't it?
This deal, buddy. I told him come in next Monday, get on the agenda.
Who's this?
Tim,
Forrest?
no,
I did.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
well, I just talked to him.
All right.
I was on the phone, that's it.
Okay,
Get on the agenda, and we'll,
yeah, I emailed him when I was upstairs and
appreciate
got
it.
him scheduled.
Yeah, Marcia's trying to call me, I'm trying to find out what the results are, so. Anyway, I'll let you know when I find out. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, Kurt. Kurt?
Fancy.
Yeah, how are you today?
You know, not too bad. Pretty nice out.
It's got a button over there you can push and it lights up and there's our amplifier and our mixer. Probably not.
Cold? Don't have a whole lot. I just, got the, appliances starting to show up for the building, and, they have, got the, stove. That's the last thing. We're going to get the, floor's been cleaned and mopped and ready for sealant to be put on the concrete. And, we'll get that done Wednesday, I believe, is the tentative plan. And then we can start moving everything in. And, that's kind of, and then I think we're gonna officially open for business. Going to try one trial run, this year, just to see how the, you tell me what are some things we're missing, or, just some stuff that needs to be done. And then, we'll officially open in January for business.
Ribbon cutting ceremony?
Katie?
The reason I say that type of stuff draws nice attention from the newspaper or whatever the media.
Well, yeah, I think we had talked about, us four talked about having a little shindig once we're officially open, whether it's an hamburger or $1 or something like that, and invite people out to see it.
I'll let the.
I know the Friends of Bennett Creek, they used to do big breakfasts and everything, and they were wanting to do that, sometime in January, do an official. And I said,
I think
well,
having a ribbon cutting too would be a good thing for getting that out and let the public know, getting it
Right.
publicized.
Right, no, I think, but whether we do that at, the breakfast or whether we do an evening thing, with the county, kind of doing that. I think that'd be nice, and I think, but I'm pretty excited. I just gotta get, it's minor things at this point, figuring out, and I don't know if I need to talk to Todd, if he can work me up some sort of, sheet, if you're renting a rental agreement, I guess.
Yeah.
Language, yeah, saying, hey, you have to do this, or do that, I don't know what all needs to be in there.
You might contact Northeast Kansas Heritage and see what they've got. I don't know, I've not seen it, but I know people who.
I've had to sign it, but it's been,
Yeah.
7 or 8 years ago.
So, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe we can there's no sense in reinventing the wheel.
Right, no, I think
Piggyback
some of that
on
language
something,
could be, piggyback,
Yeah.
I do believe, but yeah, I think, wedding package is gonna be a 3-day deal, I think we decided, I think that gives everyone time to, Friday night, get in, set up, Saturday, or Sunday, however you wanna do it, and then leave you till noon on the next day to get in and get everything cleaned up. I think the cost of everything is going to include, a general deep cleaning, so it gets done to a certain standard. Mary's gonna take care of that for us, or Camp Host, because they are staying through the winter with us, so, that couldn't work out any better. Yeah, grass looks great. Had a little bit of wheat in the drill, but when we started planting, then you can definitely tell where the wheat is at. No.
Nope.
Have you roast some dove in next fall?
Is there hunting out there?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, very good.
No, I mean, not at that specific like
Oh,
location.
okay, no.
But there is hunting at the lake.
All right, all right.
So on
That's fair.
social media, something posted up blank banner cabins, is someone
No,
building cabins
that's-
in that area?
That's not, I kind of forgot about that. So,
Yeah.
I guess we don't have Banner Creek trademarked. I mean, because Banner Creek is, you know, a
Yeah.
creek, so we can't, not anything we can do, but I know it's gonna be a pain in the butt because people are gonna be calling us all the time about our cabins that we don't have.
Yeah.
And where is this?
On the south side entrance to the lake, about 100 yards to the east, we built a cabin that they're renting out.
That is,
Aaron Deaver's,
yeah, there you go.
which is his right to do it, their land, but with it being the same name, you know, I'm sure we'll get a little bit of that. But it is what it is.
Yep.
So you have seen it then? Yeah. Okay. I wasn't quite sure what all that was about.
Yeah. Other than that, just trying to catch up on a few things, you know, haven't had time to do through the year. You know, everyone's gone now, just me, so. Working on, you know, camping rates and stuff like that, running some numbers and figuring out, you know, what everything's gonna look like. And I'll probably in the next week or two come to you with any recommendations on what I plan on doing there, with that.
Overall, the season went well, numbers up, numbers down.
From here on out, I will be able to tell you exact
Yeah.
numbers. I mean, because we've had a full year now. This year was our first full year with the system. So it was real nice for me to be able to, prime example, we're ordering stickers, and, you know, that we sell for, you know, I was able to tell you exactly how many stickers we sold. Hey, we don't need as many of this as we did with that, you know. You can save a couple $100 here or there. Makes it worth it.
Sure. Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing numbers year in, year out. You got a comparison,
Yeah, from here on out, we'll be able to do it every year. I mean, I can tell you, I have a printout right there, and it told me exactly, you know, our hay limit, our, you know, everything that we sold through that, whether it be what we rented, or what we've got a point of sale system to keep track of, you know, hats, shirts, ice, firewood, which is so nice.
Correct.
You know, we were down this year on ice, you know, unfortunately, we were $300 shy of breaking even on ice on that, so I'm hoping going forward, you know, by trying one of those machines like I talked to you guys about, a little cheaper machine, if we can get a year or two out of it, you know.
Yep.
We can actually make some money on the second year. But otherwise, it sounds like my whole crew's gonna be back next year, you know, so that's good, so we shouldn't have much retraining or anything like that, and people are really starting to get used to the system, and it's made our lives so much easier out there.
Not near as much cleaning as when we first put it online.
No, I mean, if I do anything with the price system, which I'm looking at, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, there will be, but even at what we're at, we are so much cheaper than everyone else right now. I mean, the nearest county lake, you know, in comparison to Shawnee Lake, and you're comparing, you know, two different lakes at that point too, I mean, they've got a few more amenities of, as far as at their playgrounds and different stuff like that, but, you know, our lake is a little big, and you can, you know, it's full fishing and,
Yeah.
you know, where you can't use wakes or anything down there, at certain parts of it. And they're 22 or 25 at night, so, yeah, I'm gonna dig into it a little bit more before I bring it up officially and get it all out.
Yeah, you don't
Spread
want to
any
be too
unnecessary-
far behind, but
Right, I mean, we gotta keep up with the time, you know, and as of right now, you know, we've done well enough, you know, the last few years to, you know, cover our expenses, and, I think this building and the revenue that it will bring out, I mean, the first 2 years, I don't imagine it's gonna be as much, I mean, cause I think we've got a lot of people that we've, you know, that have donated time, you know, to this thing, and I've donated out, you know, free rentals and stuff like that, and so people are gonna call us out on that and allow that, but I think that was a
because we cooperate with them on various things too.
I know most of the guys are pretty
Yeah, yeah.
pretty good.